Alright, salvete plurimum. Magister Craft here. Wow, that was weird. Yes, Mr. Craft. Magister Craft. It's all the same. I'm all the same. Salvete, guys. I'm here to show you the house of the surgeon behind me. Yes, I just published a video. There is a video that exists on this in Latin. That is simplified. I'm doing this one in English because that way I can get out some more details to you all and talk about some of the choices and things that I made. In case anyone's curious, why am I showing these rooms to you in this way? Why is that there? Why is that not there? And so on. So I'm just going to handle that stuff in English. And I think I may do that from now on. Anytime I'm going to do a building that is, so a historical building, like a reproduction of that, I'll do the Latin language version for the vast majority of people that watch my content. And then for those who are really into architecture, but not so much language, I'll do a video like this for you in English where we can, or I can present to you some of the research and things that I did and explain some of my rationale behind some of the choices that I made. Well, at any rate, what do we got here? Let me turn around. Oops, I went too far. There we go. Yes, as always, I've created a street. Sorry, hold on. I can fix that. I'll fix it for a second, but I'll have to turn this back. I've made a bunch of mods in order to produce this map for you all. Also worked with got another colleague of mine that I worked with. He'd made a bunch of mods as well for his own use. Generously loaned that to me, and I've used some of those in here. At any rate, so I've created the facade, well, the whole, I guess, like front street of this area. Excuse me, yikes. Let's go a little bit faster. Yeah, all the way down to the well. Sorry, yeah. Look at those names. I could get rid of those by doing this. These figures appeared in a video that I made. Yeah, now, the reason why I'm not going to spend any time talking about any of these things here is because, well, first of all, I want to focus on the house of the surgeon up there, but also because these are all fabrications, right? I put shops where shops were along this street, but I did not do any of the research on any of these shops. I just needed to flesh out the city to make it look realistic, right? So I don't know anything about any of these colors down here, if these were actually here on these streets, anything like that. So scholars, anyone who's researching this area, archaeologists, anybody working, be easy on me. I just needed to give people an idea of what a road in Pompeii could have looked like. All right, now back to the place where I actually did try to do things accurately. The house of the surgeon that I'm going to show to you here, the version of that house that I'm going to show to you here. This is the front of the house. Actually, hold on. Let me go ahead and change back the, because I'll forget to do that later. All right, there we go. So, yeah, see, I get the black stuff back there again. That's annoying. All right. The version of the house that I'm going to do now is the version right before the eruption of Vesuvius. So I want to give to you like possibly what the last thing anybody would have seen of this house before the house was destroyed and the people killed, is what I was going for here. There are several versions of this home. This home, one of the oldest homes in Pompeii. It was once dated to sometime around the 4th century BC, or excuse me, 400s BC. But I think they've moved that up. There were some remains found underneath here, but those I don't think are being associated anymore with the House of the Surgeon. So they've moved the House of the Surgeon dates up to sometime in the 200s BC there. I got probably the vast majority of my information for this house comes from this really, really thorough text that was called, let me see if I can give you the full name of it. The House of the Surgeon, Pompeii, Excavations in the Casa del Chirurgo. And one of the principal authors of that text, Dr. Michael Anderson, was gracious enough to even answer some more questions that I had for him about some of the things that I put in here. So he tried to steer me in the right direction as best he could based on his actual work that he had done through various excavations and work, archaeological work here on this site. And anything else outside of that, I'll have to say I used my own artistic license to fill in blanks, I guess, as anybody would when they're doing a reconstruction. All right, let's get into the house. Let me stop talking. So here we have, well, that's impossible. I'm not going to stop talking. I got to show you the house, right? Here we have one of the tabernae, one of the shops. Used to be a shop. It looks like at the very end of this house's life, it was no longer a shop, but maybe had some sort of a water feature in here. Maybe it held water. I don't know how the water got there. There are cisterns and things that run underneath this home, but I will readily admit that I did not study the channels that these cisterns would have traveled. I know that they went underneath this room here. So I've just put a couple of different holding, what would we call these? I guess we could call this maybe like a cistern or something. At any rate, just put a couple of these here, these little tanks, I guess, to hold water, just to kind of indicate what this room ultimately ended up being. There was another point where maybe there was some remnants of some iron, some smelted iron found here, and I think some other materials, I believe, found. So maybe there was something else going on, like in another shop. I didn't realize this, that not all these tabernae were places of like finished products. Evidently, they were could also be like workshops too. So it's quite cool. I'll show you another area here in a minute where a place used to be a workshop. But at any rate, this is probably what we're left with. The floors are pretty accurate based on, this is Opus Signinum floor here. These are based on the finds published in the text that I quoted you all. I think the walls actually would have been not stuccoed. I think he said that the last layer was a similar kind of appearance, maybe a little lighter than this, that would have been on the walls. Said that was typical for shops. I did change that and opt out of that and go ahead and stucco it. So forgive me. All right, moving forward, I'll show you the other shoot. Sorry, hold on. This is the canaculum. Let's take a look up there before I go anywhere else. So here's a canaculum. So that's just like a little attic, like perhaps an apartment building. So I've outfitted it. I think the only thing that we have remains of this place are the beams that maybe they're not these beams, but the beams that would have held up this floor, which would tell us that there was another story up here, added a little balcony looking out. I don't have any evidence for that. I did see another reproduction of the House of the Surgeon who used this. So with caution, should you reproduce these things, I suppose. So I'm telling you, these balconies maybe weren't there. All right, moving on. Just a little space back here, potentially for more storage. This room, I wasn't certain, and I don't know that anyone is 100% certain, but it's possible that this room could have gone further back and had more storage further back. I opted for this, putting it above the taberna, or the former taberna, and in the space behind that. But you certainly could find a recreation, a model of this where it was extended beyond that. So let's go on down. Not much to see there. I'll go show you the other shop. Now this shop here looks like was still a shop potentially. I think there were some pieces of pottery found in here, so from some jugs. Don't recall any of the other things, so that meant that it was probably wood. Oh, and almost certainly that was not there. Sorry, I used that for. I can actually get rid of that. That's a blocker for a door. It's a locking mechanism. But at any rate, the fact that there was almost nothing left in this space means whatever was in here could have easily been burned up. So wooden tables, that could have all been burned up. And I made a clothing shop here because, why not? I guess I could have put anything here. It could have been food. It could have been anything like that too. Really cool feature. I made this based on they said they found something where it looks like people in this house, I believe it's over there in that taberna, where they were using roof tiles as shelves. I couldn't find a picture of it, so I just made one like this, and then I decided, well, let me put a little oil lamp on it. And how cool is that, though? So you'll see those all throughout the place. I maybe got a little too excited with them, but again, just forgive me. Just keep forgiving me for doing stuff that you don't approve of. I've talked about this for shops. I've got a video on that, so I'll say nothing about it right now. I'm gonna have to jump over these people to get to the upstairs. Another potentially cenaculum, another living space. So these living spaces could have been for the tabernarius, the shopkeeper. It looks like at various times throughout the history of this house and the shops that maybe at one point the owner of the house maybe ran this place, and then maybe later this was rented out to someone else, maybe a freed person, so a former slave. Maybe they were the ones who ran the shop and then lived upstairs just above. I don't know. These are all possibilities, all options, and don't have any proof either way. So, yeah, you can just kind of go with whatever I think fits. In this case, your storyline or my storyline. What I was going for here, right? All right. We'll go to the entrance of the house. Again, these doors likely, almost certainly were not the doors that they would have had on this home. Yes, first of all, the floors. So the floors, I tried really hard. I did make a bunch of textures for the floors to match what they found, what they published in the research in the text I was telling you about. There's a cork model and Anderson's text that I used to figure out at least what colors to put on the walls. So you can go and see certain walls that still have the frescoes and things on there, and they won't look exactly like this, but the colors will be there. So I'm just trying to give you an idea of the schemes, the color patterns, the schemes, the tones, and things that they are going for here. But again, these are not going to be super accurate. In fact, you're going to see a lot of, see that painting there, that portrait painting. I've got a lot of those that are just there for decoration. Those, I think almost, all of them appeared in other homes. None of the ones that I have up there appeared in this home. I apologize for that. It's just, when I make these mods, I'm trying to make things, so I do make some things that are specific, but I try to also make things that can be used in other builds. These mods get pretty heavy. So yeah, here's the atrium of the house. Beautiful space. Again, the colors are what you would see in the text or on the cork model, just maybe not the exact patterns. Go in here. Got a slave guy here sleeping. Again, this could have been for any number of things, storage-wise. There was like a little shrine here, although I couldn't find a picture of it, but it did say that there was a little niche lararium, larum sedes, found here in a wall, also called an aedicola. Looks like a mezzanine, so just a little more storage up here. So not completely closed off, so open. We did have some, we got some holes punctured here in the walls and the stairs and over there. You can see into the apartment building. Letting light in because obviously these places are closed, and so you need to let light in, as much natural light as you can. These candles don't really do it any justice. In fact, maybe in a little bit I'll turn the lights off in the game and show you what that kind of looks like. The bedrooms are pretty generic in terms of what's in here. Again, the patterns and stuff you're going to see, it's just for the effect. So it would have been, these were light colored rooms. Don't have any of the furniture that survived, or at least none that was published anyway. Close that door, why not? Do have, so you can still go and find the impluvium here. So that is very much intact. The puteal, the wellhead, I believe it's still on site. But at any rate, there was one here, and there's another one over there, which we'll go to in a second. More rooms. Those rooms are basically the same, but I'll go into another one in a second. This is just, you know, at some point this room was closed, another point it was open, another point it was closed. There's a lot of back and forth, evidently, with that door there. This is a cool thing. So this is an ancient Roman loom, and I found out that evidently maybe this loom is even more ancient than the people who would have been using this stuff. So, you know, maybe trying to demonstrate how, look at what a pure woman this domina is here. She knows how to use a loom. Why put a loom here, though? See those little metal weights down there? Those are made out of iron, and they found a bunch of those. Can't remember exactly how many now. But they found quite a few of those in this house. And I think they were grouped together. So either there was a loom that would have had all those together on them, or they were producing iron. Oh, which, goodness gracious, I totally forgot to tell you. Sorry, this space here, geez Louise, this space here used to be, underneath this floor, there are signs of past ironworks. So evidently, whoever was here, at least iron, maybe even other metals, but whoever was living here and working in this space before the last owner, evidently was making iron, smelting. They had this cool thing where they take an amphora and turn it on its side, and then they like break a portion of it off, and then they evidently had what do you call those, bellows or something, where you're able to force more air over the fire, make it hotter, and all that's underneath the floor that you see here. That's really cool. That's really cool. So at any rate, at some point they were probably making iron, and maybe they made those things. Maybe they made things and sold them out of that shop. I don't know. There's so many options. Anyways, all right. Here we go. And we got another bedroom. And this one just leads us into the ala here, the wing of the house. This had a mosaic. Although these designs are a little inappropriate, meaning these aren't the actual designs. It was a black and white tesserae mosaic here. The other ones were other geographic patterns. Here I'm just reusing some other stuff that I had from a previous build. It's all about reusing, recycling. Here is one of the triclinia. So in this triclinium here, again, just trying to repeat the colors as best I can. Got your tables, got a beautiful little view. Don't know. I've seen some windows that were, straight across like that. A colleague of mine was suggesting that I maybe put an arch there. I suppose so. I just don't have any evidence for it. So I guess as long as, well, in your build, if you guys want to make one, you could certainly put you could put an arch there. We do see those, so I just left it a flat window frame there. So here would be the tablinum, the study. Again, the floor, yes. The walls, okay. Color patterns, the colors are roughly that, but not these exact patterns, right? I created that one. Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it exactly like that. Get your little family. Got the death masks there, the wax masks. Here's our paterfamilias. Sorry, that should not be there. Sorry, before I break that, I forgot to remove that. Evidently, this is a medieval scroll holder. I learned this recently too. Evidently, Romans had horizontal scrolls, like that one there. They would have been opened horizontally, and that's called a volumen, or volumina in the plural. This thing would have been a rotulus or rotuli, and they are opened horizontally. So that is medieval and not Roman. I forgot. I meant to make one of those models and put that there. Well, yeah, again, another one of those forgive me moments. Here's where the house had a garden in the back. Don't know what was back there other than these planters. I think they found a whole row of mostly or semi-buried planters in the back, so that was cool. So I tried to reproduce that as best I could and then put some various plants and trees and things in there. And then I just made it, I didn't, turn it into almost like a Paris style, almost like a little pleasure garden and less of a utility garden there. Here we got a fella drinking out of the puteal, the other one in the back there. Just another little storage area. So I made it like someone made it as if someone were sleeping back there. I suppose maybe one of the servants, you could imagine. One of the triclinium. This is a very beautiful one. This one had these lovely tesserae, this mosaic floor. So this very like dark blue, almost black stone and white interspersed throughout. Lovely stuff. Again, these unfortunately these are the colors, but not the paintings and things on there. So at any rate, we got some folks enjoying some food and the lovely view into the Hortus there. Got a set of stairs that take us up to what probably was more storage. How much? I don't know if you've noticed. This house has a lot of storage and still yet more to come. They had a toilet, a latrina up here, which that's cool. In fact, this there's a tubing in the wall, if I'm not mistaken. I seem to recall that. There's tubing in the wall from this that would go down. There's a latrina just below us. I'll show you in a second. So it was all interconnected. Hello. You can see somebody over there. Or, sorry, salve. Gotta let the fresh light and fresh air in when you got a toilet right there, right? So let's head on downstairs. Looks like just more storage here. Again, when what I learned is if you don't know what to do with the space, just call it storage, cause I don't know what else you would do with it. And I guess most people don't either. So here's another little hallway, and and here we go. Here's the other latrina there, and that would have been interconnected some fashion, I guess, for the water, for the waste there. Really cool that they thought of all that. Here's the kitchen space. Lovely. Love this. I love this area for a few reasons. One, we got access to a cistern. Was this just access to a cistern? Are we dumping wastewater here? Was it another kind of latrina? Don't know. I guess you could have done all of that here. Over here, now this room, this kelle. Okay, so the wine jugs, no, did not find those. I did add those myself. I think all that they had found though was a bunch of rubble, a bunch of stones. I can't remember. I think it was lime. So maybe what we are to take away from this is that they were planning on, or were in the process of remodeling some of the rooms in the house. So that's really cool that's a thing. All right, that we actually found that. So here we have the kitchen, the lararium here. So this is a painted one, painted on the wall. Hold on, let me see if I can grab this table, get rid of it so you can see the whole lararium better. So I just took this came from a painting. Oh goodness, I'm going to forget the author's name, the artist's name. Goodness gracious, I want to say it was a gentleman in the 1800s, 1900s, maybe 1800s. Who was visiting these sites. I believe he had a son who accompanied him, an Italian fella. Did I say Italian? An Italian fella, and he would do all these really intricate, detailed paintings of these places. Well, I guess sketches. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were actually sketches of what he saw. None of that lararium painted here remains, so I based this off of what he drew, and then colored it and everything and put it up there for your pleasure. Here, yeah, so we have this. I made a focus there. There certainly weren't two, but it was hard for me to reproduce the just one that would have been big enough to stretch the two there. So I did put two there. So that's me, not the archaeology. But it was replete with was covered with these pieces of roof tile. Just like they had used roof tile to make those little shelves. Roof tile, lararium raised. They also had those here. So I'm using it as an upper level that you could actually heat and cook on with the heat there below, right? But anyway, so yeah, you can see much of this is still in situ. All right. Come on, let's move on. Here we got this nice little hallway that leads us to this really cool opening. Evidently, at some point, there was access to, there's a drain over here, so access to the cistern again. Looks like that got moved, and then they covered it over with this final layer of this aggregate opus signinum flooring, and then had this opening here, presumably left open, I presume. And that would have been really cool. Let in water, rainwater, which, question. Would we be collecting? Why wouldn't they be collecting water if this was in fact left open? Certainly collected sunlight in here. Don't know what the answer to that would be. Here's me using some arches. Again, those weren't there. This is me adding things. Here we have another. Yes. Oh, by the way, yes. That is, I'm going to do a video on Roman doors. This is one of my first attempts at a truly Roman door. It's pretty cool. I'll wait and talk about that when I do that video. Anyways, another storage space here. Some cool designs by my colleague there. Some cool candelabra. Very nice stuff. Thank you for letting me use that. Okay, we are nearing the end of the house. Sorry, I know that I've gone quite long. This lararium, guys, so I have no evidence of this, but I felt okay with putting it in here. One, I needed it. I wanted it, excuse me. I wanted to add it in a video that I recently did. But also, I was okay with putting it in here because the thing is completely wooden, as you can see. So there would have been nothing left of it if there actually was one here. So that's why I was okay with putting that in there. And we can assume, if we look at all the other Roman homes throughout Herculaneum and Pompeii, we find certainly more than one lararium in these homes. So I was okay with putting that in there. All right. So here we come to the last room of the house. Beautiful floors that they had done there with these inlays. So we have, again, it's opus signinum there, but then we have these larger chunks of stone scattered about. Very beautiful. There was a border around this floor. I couldn't really reproduce that for you all and have the same floor here. But they had a different pattern over here, which would seem to indicate that perhaps this area may have been dining. And I don't know what else they would have done over here, but this evidently, in this dining room here, this triclinium, is where these, yes, the instrumenta chirurgica, the surgeon's tools, would have been found. So really cool. I believe they were taken out in the 1700s, late 1700s, removed from here and not... I don't even recall if they were fully cataloged. I think you can find them in the museum in Naples today, these tools. And it was hard for me to get any good details on them either, right? I do think I managed to find accurately that they were bronze tools and not iron. Evidently some iron was used, but evidently, or possibly I should say, perhaps more often they were made out of bronze. In speaking with Dr. Anderson, who'd worked on the site, it's not really certain that these belong to an actual surgeon, or at least not a surgeon that maybe was working on people. So there are all sorts of things that could be said here. Was this someone had suggested, I believe to him at one point, stating that some of these tools looked a little bit more like the tools, the instruments you would use to operate on animals. Okay. Don't know why they're in this house. Maybe he was visiting. Oh, you could just make up any number of scenarios to get these tools here. Maybe there really was a surgeon that lived here. Maybe the people that used to do iron work over there in that taberna, maybe they used to make surgical tools and sell those. I don't know. I don't think anyone will ever know at this point. There are just too many holes. It's too difficult at this point to piece all that together. So at any rate, this is why the house is called the House of the Surgeon, because of the tools here. And it may be just an incredible misnomer and there was never a surgeon that lived here. Isn't that wild to think about? Like this house, its name could have been falsely applied. This might not have been a surgeon that lived here. It was just some guy in passing who had a big satchel full of his tools, and he went and spent the night at a friend's house, and then a volcano erupted and he left all of his tools behind, and now we've named the house after him, and he didn't even live here, right? He was just visiting. I don't know. It could have been anything. So, anyways, let me just double check, guys. I think that is it for this home. I believe I've shown you by now everything in here. Gosh, and if I didn't, I'm sorry. I believe that the video's already run extremely long as it is, so I'll stop here. Guys, if anyone has any more questions, you want to see anything more specific about this home, about the House of the Mosaic Atrium, anything else that I've done, I'd be happy to do so. So for now, take care, curate ut valeatis, and as I say in my Latin videos, valete.